Hey friends, Tommy with Studio Sense here. I appreciate you stopping by. Today I'd like to talk to you about the latest release by Emporio Armani, and that is Stronger With You Parfum. It is a bit unfortunate that it is being released in a time where everyone's really kind of looking at their fragrance rotation in terms of summertime fragrances, and this category is that of a ambery, woody, spicy oriental fougere. I guess that's probably too many adjectives. So it's an oriental fougere basically. And that's not something that you typically wear in summertime, or is it? I'm gonna give you guys some ideas as well as my first impressions right after this. Welcome back everyone. I am super glad that you're here. I better put my hands down. Kind of messes up my camera's autofocus when I do that. Seriously though, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to stop by and check out my first impressions of this new flanker. Just like everybody in the designer fragrance industry, Emporio Armani feels the need to create new flankers of a very popular line, and the Stronger With You line has some fantastic additions. In fact, it's one of the most solid lines in terms of fragrance that you could kind of close your eyes and point at, and it would probably be a great one to purchase for many reasons. So then that begs the question, is the latest Stronger With You Parfum worth picking up, worth buying? If you don't just want to complete the set, and if you don't just absolutely adore everything about the Stronger With You line, is it going to be something that the average person would be interested in? We're going to answer that question and many others, but first let's take a quick look at the presentation. Giving you an idea of the richness and the density of the fragrance, the box is very dark, almost like a liqueur, like a brown liqueur look. It says Stronger With You Parfum in a white font, but the O in U has kind of that dark bronze O behind it. You have some dark bronze or metallic looking, the Emporio Armani stripes that go around the entirety of the box. And at the bottom it says Emporio Armani 100 ml or 3.3 fluid ounces. The right side of the box just has the stripes going across, and the left side of the box has a QR code as well as the stripes going across. Top of the box just has the Emporio Armani logo embossed. You can vaguely see that through the light shining there. You have distribution information, recyclable information, as well as the batch code on the bottom. The batch code is 38YoYo0018. But on the back of the box, the ingredients listing, address information, a UPC, a QR code, and some various use by stickers on the bottom there. So who cares? Box, right? Not the most exciting part of the presentation. It's always the bottle, and the bottle is beautiful. I love the deep, rich look to this. It's a very opulent, very lacquered kind of look. Epoxy, lacquer, whatever floats your boat in terms of adjectives. I enjoy the look. The Stronger With You Parfum, Emporio Armani going across the middle and the bottom there. Beautiful bottle though, right? Now inside the lid you also have the Emporio Armani logo. If you can see that, it's metal and plastic, combination of the two. Silver, you've got a silver atomizer pump with a black aperture. It is relatively easy to see and it does click into place. However, it's not that super strong of a connection that I would feel safe holding my bottle up without some kind of safety net. On the bottom of the bottle is that 38Y0018, as well as house size and concentration. It's an adhesive sticker giving you that information. I think the square bottle is great. For a designer, it's nothing super highfalutin, it's nothing super fancy, but it is very solid, it's very heavy, well put together. Looks good on the shelf, fits great in the hand, easy to spray, so there's really no negatives there. A solid A for presentation in my book, because I do like that deep color, which is an ode or nod to the concentration. So this is a Parfum concentration. You might recall Stronger With You Absolutely, which is also a Parfum concentration, so are identical in terms of concentration. Definitely not an identical fragrance. So now that we know what the presentation looks like, let's get into the fragrance itself. What about the notes that make up Stronger With You Parfum? Stronger With You Parfum features top notes of mandarin orange and pink pepper, with heart notes of lavender and sage, resting on a base of a leathery vanilla and a chestnut accord. They're probably are other notes. Some websites say that there's cinnamon, some websites say that there's elemi resins in there. Probably are some resins and some other spices that aren't being mentioned, but our focus is primarily on this open of mandarin orange and pink pepper. This is a kind of a soft, muted, but very welcome open. So it is an Oriental fougere. This fragrance doesn't go too much beyond the bounds of soft and seductive. That's pretty much where it lives. This isn't going to be one of those complex, multi-layered fragrances where you're kind of sifting through how you feel about how it smells. Pretty much straight out of the bottle, what you smell is what you get. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. For those of you that know about the Stronger With You line, this is a dark, rich, kind of a Swedish, not Swedish, the ethnicity, but sweet, typically been called a gourmand fragrance. I wouldn't go so far as to say this is a gourmand, but it does definitely have the Stronger With You DNA. It has that sweetness, but not as much. When you first spray this on, you do get a brisk kind of zesty orange and pink pepper, okay? But it doesn't last super long. It's a soft kind of muted introduction into where the fragrance simply goes. You've got some warm, inviting spices by way of clary sage and lavender, and then immediately you are shuffled into another room by those warm spices and that soft muted opening into the dry down. The dry down is where this fragrance lives. It is a more of a leather-esque kind of Stronger With You. Some people have said this is kind of like a cross between Stronger With You Absolutely and Stronger With You Leather. And I would say that's a pretty appropriate descriptor. This isn't an in-your-face kind of strong, absolute kind of leather. It's not a definitive, like a Tom Ford ombre leather or anything like that. This is more of a leather afterthought, okay? So you get that leather, you get that chestnut, kind of lightly boozy, warm, inviting, vanillic DNA, which is Stronger With You, and then a bit of a light leather on top of that. So it's like an after effect or an afterthought or a sidebar or a mention, basically. And so I think a lot of people are going to appreciate that. Now, in terms of maturity, this is a bit more of a mature fragrance than is Stronger With You Absolutely, but not ostensibly so. It's not so mature that it's going to distance itself from a youthful or younger audience, but it's not so youthful and energetic that those that are a bit older may not want to consider it. So it rides that fine line in between mature, youthful, energetic, clubbing, or date night kind of fragrance or vibe. And that leads me into when to wear this. When would you wear this? Well, when would you wear any Oriental fougere? Fall and winter are the two seasons where you're going to maximize the wear and the usage of this fragrance. That's not to say that you couldn't wear it to a nighttime event or a nighttime date in any season, okay? So that's the primary purpose of this. And if you were to believe the commercial, you can also wear it clubbing. Go out there and dance on the dance floor like everybody's watching. And that's what this dude is. The model representing this fragrance is out there just losing his mind by himself in the middle of the dance floor. So yeah, if you want to call this a clubbing fragrance, it could definitely be a clubbing fragrance. Now, having said that, I'm going to give you something to think about. Stronger With You Absolutely is known for being a boozy, sweet fragrance. This one isn't as sweet. So if I had to say who would be interested in purchasing this, or why would you be interested in purchasing this, I'm going to give you a few pros and cons about this. If you're looking for a fragrance that isn't as sweet as Stronger With You Absolutely, but still has that definitive Stronger With You DNA, that chestnut, vanilla, warm home and hearth kind of draw with a bit of a sexy magnetic allure on top of that or underneath that. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Little innuendo, but with an afterthought or an affectation of leather, you know, like kind of a vanilla, warm, sensual, kind of light leather, not dark, not heavy, not a retail fresh leather, kind of a middle of the line, warm, lightly spicy leather, then this will be the perfect answer for what you're looking for. Because again, it's not as sweet as Stronger With You Absolutely, it's not as spicy warm as Stronger With You Intensely, it is not as leather-esque as Stronger With You Leather, but it falls in between all three of those. It's kind of like a brainchild of all three of those. Now, in terms of the concentration, it is a Parfum, but I am a little bit surprised at the performance of this. In terms of performance, it doesn't outperform Stronger With You Absolutely, and it's not really a side-by-side performer. This one, for whatever reason, and I think because it is a bit more subtle and a bit more muted, performs just under Stronger With You Absolutely in terms of breadth of scent bubble and time. This one is going to be a good 6-7 hour fragrance. and then it pulls back to be a bit of a skin scent after that, in my experience. Whereas Stronger With You absolutely, due to its sweetness, a little bit more alive and energetic of a fragrance, and lasts just a bit longer and has a bit broader of a scent bubble. Whereas this is a bit more soft, a bit more subtle, and I think that's what adds to the maturity of it as well. Now in terms of price, you can purchase this retail. Surprisingly, it's not $145 or 150 bucks as most extraits or parfums are out there, so it is a bit better. It's $130 for a 100 ml bottle, or I think it's $115 for a 50 ml. So that's not too bad. It is just now hitting discounter shelves. You can get it at Joma Shop for, there's like $10 difference. It's 120 bucks for a 100 ml bottle and about 85 for a 50 ml. Not a lot to think about there. If you want nominal savings, get it at a discounter, but if you like the tchotchke that you can often get, which the Emporio Armani can send out gifts sometimes along with your fragrance, then you might want to go that route. I wouldn't say necessarily that it's a redundancy insofar as Forever Wanted Elixir isn't a redundancy because it's featuring a couple of really cool notes. This is kind of a duo of vanilla and leather, and that's its focal point. It's a bit more soft, a bit more subtle, less sweet, and more mature. If you like anything about that, you might want to try a sample out, and that leads me into the giveaway. With a lot of new fragrances, I'm going to try to do a giveaway of a 3 ml bottle, 2 3 ml bottles, so have 2 winners, and that's what I'm going to do here. So if you are interested in getting a 3 ml bottle of this, a 3 ml sample, we'll say, I know I'm saying bottle to make it easier. 2 3 ml bottles I'm going to give away to 2 lucky winners. All you got to do is make sure you're subbed to Studio Sense, make sure you like this video, and in this video, make a comment about what your favorite Stronger With You flanker is. I know I did that before with Stronger With You Sandalwood. This is for those who didn't get an opportunity to or want to change their answer. So you've got another opportunity to win. Just tell me, just make sure you're subbed to Studio Sense, like this video, and tell me what your favorite of the Stronger With You line is, and you could win a 3 ml bottle of Stronger With You Parfum. That is a wrap on my first impressions of Stronger With You Parfums. So many flankers, so little time. Doesn't it feel that way sometimes? But I hope that I've given you some food for thought when it comes to this fragrance. I think it's a solid addition to the line, but for some people it's going to be a redundancy if they're not really into kind of like leather and vanilla combos and more soft, subtle, and kind of sexy, because that's exactly where this lives. Thanks so much for coming along for the ride. As always, thank you so much for your continued support here on my channel. I hope you and your family have a great, safe day, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video review.